this is what they haven't told you about that used truck that you've been looking at that you're about to buy. Take, for example, a large fleet or company like Walmart, for example, or Celadon, JB Hunt, Schneider. These companies that have company trucks that they are not leasing out to drivers, but when they hire drivers, they come, they work, and they drive these trucks on a daily basis. If the maintenance is kept up on these trucks properly, they can stretch that mileage and duration of that truck out for a very long time. Okay, it's very common. What happens is when they get to the point of where they are either spending a lot of time or money on trying to fix things with this truck, they start looking at the truck as a potential for a loss, okay, or potential for them to upgrade. So instead of dumping consistent amounts of money into this vehicle, they're going to say, okay, well, you know what, let's just get rid of it, let's sell it, whether they sell it for a low price or they sell it for whatever they sell this truck for. It doesn't matter at that point. What does matter is the fact that now you're looking at this truck that was sold to the company that you're going to, the company that you're going to purchase this truck from. They haven't looked at a lot of the maintenance or anything like that. Now, they may claim that they have or that they did or will, but they aren't that vested in that truck. They might look at something that you're able to look at and see when you walk up to the truck. All right, so lights, tires, body panels, mirrors, things like that. Your simple inspectable items, that's what they're really checking for. All right, but when you start getting into your advanced items that you really got to go digging for, your brakes, your shocks, suspension, struts, air components, they are not so vested to where they're going to replace those items. As I said before, the fleets that sell those trucks to those leasing companies to ultimately sell them to you, they come off of them because they have either spent so much money to maintain that truck, or something was constantly breaking, or it's at that critical point in maintenance where they have to do critical phases of maintenance. Okay, so your overhaul, your end frame, your complete breakdown of an engine and rebuild. Okay, that's what an overhaul is. An overhaul or an end frame. That's taking the engine out of that truck, stripping it down, taking all the internal components out, replacing them with brand new components, maybe manufacturing the block, rebuilding the head, things like that. Then the cost of this kind of job will range anywhere from, minus the parts, okay, from about $30,000 up to $45,000, and that's labor. That's how much a lot of shops are charging to rebuild these engines and put them back into these trucks. So the fleets that are selling the trucks to the leasing companies are not going to put that much time or money or effort into that vehicle. They'd rather sell it. And besides, buying a brand new truck for a company is a tax write-off. So of course they're gonna get rid of that vehicle if they can really afford it and justify it. But the problem is now you're dealing with those problems that they were dealing with. Not everybody's situation is going to be the same. You might get lucky and find yourself a truck with a decent amount of miles on it, somewhere in a ballpark of about, we'll say 0 miles up to 350 to 400,000 miles. That's a fairly decent range for mileage on a truck. You might wind up spending more money on that truck because a lot of people might not want to come off of it. So where they don't want to spend that money to fix that problem or to get that truck back running the way that it should, it's now left on you. And you're probably going to be thinking that you got a deal when you have an overhaul coming up. That was the situation that I found myself in. Like I said, I got into it and I learned the hard way. And my goal is to make sure that you don't have to learn that way. So I'm hoping that you'll take this advice and actually do a little bit more research into a used truck before you actually purchase it. If you go out, you find a truck that you like and you want to see it, if you can, it's kind of a stretch, maybe take a mechanic with you. Take someone with you that knows what they're looking at when it comes to conventional tractor trailers, okay? If you can't take anybody with you, I highly suggest taking a pre-trip or post-trip inspection sheet with you. Something that outlines all of the critical components that need to be checked off when it comes to operating that vehicle. Now, a lot of leasing companies will go the route of making sure that some of those items are taken care of, but possibly not all of them. You might get a truck that has a small air leak on it, okay? But you could also get a brand new truck that has an air leak on it as well. So I'm not gonna use that as a crazy example, but just know that there are things that they are going to dress up for you to see when you come and look at this vehicle. And by dress up, I mean they're gonna make it look so that it's appealing to you, to where you say, oh wow, yeah, that's a good looking truck. Headlights look good, all the lights look like they work, the tires look good, it's got mud flaps and everything like that. But you need to be looking at brakes, shocks, suspension, airbags, air lines. You need to be looking at everything. Make sure your windows work. Make sure they roll all the way down and roll all the way up with no problem. Make sure those mirrors work, and if they're manual or if they're automatic adjust or power mirrors, make sure they work in all axes, okay? If mirror heat, if it's equipped, likely it is, make sure it works. That's it. Just make sure everything works the way that it's supposed to on that truck before you purchase it, all right? I hope this helps, and I hope you definitely take this advice before you get yourself into a potentially very hot bucket of water going out and buying your first truck, okay? In the meantime, I appreciate you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.